But we begin with new reaction to last night's Republican presidential debates as the race for the White House takes more unexpected turns. Welcome back to Happening Now. I'm Patty Ann Brown in for Jenna Lee.
And I'm John Scott. A dramatic night at the Ronald Reagan Library in California. The candidates facing off on a stage adorned by President Reagan's Air Force One. More than a quarter century after the Gipper left office, Republicans are divided over who should claim his mantle. While Donald Trump has dominated the field thus far, Trump's rivals stepped up their attacks on the billionaire, including this exchange between Trump and Jeb Bush over special interest money.
The one guy that had some special interest that I know of that tried to get me to change my views on something that was generous and gave me money was Donald Trump. He wanted casino gambling in Florida.
I didn't want
it. Yes, you did.
Totally false.
You wanted it, and you didn't get it because I was
it.
opposed to casino gambling before, during, and after. And that's not, I'm not going to be bought by anybody.
I promise, if I wanted it, I would have gotten it.
No, you got Hillary Clinton to go to your wedding because you gave her money. Maybe it works for Hillary Clinton. It doesn't work for anybody on this stage.
I was a businessman. I got along with Clinton. I got along with everybody. That was my job, to get along with people.
But the simple fact is...
Excuse me. 1 second.
No.
I didn't want to
get you cannot take
more energy tonight. I like that. She bought Compaq. It was a terrible deal, and it really led to the destruction of the company. Now, one other company before that was Lucent. Carly was at Lucent before that, and Lucent turned out to be a catastrophe also. So I only say this. She can't run any of my companies.
You ran up mountains of debt as well as losses using other people's money, and you were forced to file for bankruptcy not once,
I never filed
not
for
twice,
bankruptcy. 4
times, a record 4 times. Why should we trust you to manage the finances of this nation?
So the question becomes, were there any game changers last night? Let's bring in Chris Wallace, the anchor of Fox News Sunday. Donald Trump sat atop the heap. Chris, was there enough of a change in his performance that you think there will be substantial changes in his numbers?
You know, I'm not even going to venture a guess on that, John, because I have been so consistently wrong in what I thought was going to be the result of a variety of things, particularly involving Trump, even as recently as the previous debate. I'll tell you who I thought won the debate in terms of having the best night. I thought Carly Fiorina had a very strong night. The strength, the precision of her arguments. I thought Marco Rubio, particularly on foreign policy, his vision and his command of the subject, and Chris Christie, who I think reminded people of what they liked about him in the first place. I thought Trump did fine, you know, maybe not as commanding as he was in the first Fox debate, and there were long periods of time where he wasn't even called on, and I think in that sense, just that he was being ignored, that diminished his standing. But whether that's going to have any effect at all in the polls, I have absolutely no idea.
There was something interesting about what a line that Donald Trump kept referring to over and over again. You heard him there in the intro saying that he would get along with Hillary Clinton because he was a businessman. He also said at one point that he would get along with Vladimir Putin. And I'm not sure that most Americans necessarily want a president who would get along with Putin. They want somebody who is going to confront Putin.
I thought that was actually one of Carly Fiorina's strongest moments when she said the last thing we need is more talk with Putin, that the only thing he understands isn't talk or relationship or friendships, it's power, it's force. And she talked about a variety of things she would do, like reinstate the missile defense system in Eastern Europe that President Obama stopped. Incidentally, you had that exchange earlier between Bush and Trump on the question of whether Trump ever wanted to have a casino in Florida. And I was looking at the fact checkers today, and they say that Trump was wrong and Bush was right, that Trump did try to get a casino. He was working with the Seminole Indians in Florida, and that it went to Bush when he was the governor of Florida, and that he rejected it. And the lobbyist who was working for Trump went back, told him what the reaction had been in Tallahassee, the state capital, and Trump said, well, that ends it. So it appears, at least on that one, that Bush was right.
There was also the exchange about the possibility of reforming the tax system, maybe bringing a smaller government to the federal side in Washington. Take a listen to this exchange.
I spend my days defending the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I think there's nothing more important than understanding that the Constitution restrains government, not the people.
Domestically, we'd be operating under a tax system that eliminated the IRS. People wouldn't be punished for their work and for what they produced.
One of the things we must recognize is that this country is of, for, and by the people. And it's really time that the government get out of the way and let the people be the ones who decide how they want to run their country.
It's an issue that hasn't received a lot of attention in this debating season, but do you see the possibility of some kind of tax reform coming out of the next administration?
Well, I think it depends on who the administration is. You know, it's more likely if you have the president and the Congress of the same party. There's a real split, a real divide inside the Republican Party. The three clips you had there were all people, Carson, Huckabee, and Rand Paul, talking about some form of a flat tax that, you know, everybody pays, whether you're middle class or upper class, that you all pay the same percentage. Then there's would be a major reform, and there's some questions about fairness, because obviously there'd be a considerable tax break for people at the upper income. Now, let's say you made it 15%. The top income now pays 39.6%, so they'd get a big tax break. And then you have people who, although they want tax reform and substantial changes in the system, want the same progressive system that we have now, where people that make less income pay a lower percentage than people that make more income. And actually, Jeb Bush and Donald Trump are on the same side on that. They would lower tax rates, but there still would be a progressive system where the more money you make, the higher rate you pay.
We will let you get back to planning Fox News Sunday. Chris, thanks very much for joining us.
You bet. And we're going to have Carly Fiorina on the show this week, so we're pretty excited about that.
That is going to be must-see television. Exclusive interview, Carly Fiorina and Chris Wallace. Check the local listings for when Fox News Sunday airs in your area. Chris Wallace, thank you.